What's going on YouTube? RC Pilot Will here today, and I have my F-18 by Freewing 90mm Blue Angels, and we're going to go over a couple of my setups here. So I have the iX14 Plus here, and I'm going to throw that up on the screen in a little bit, and so you guys can see exactly what I did to set this jet up and how I programmed my mixes and so forth to basically get the jet to do the things that it does. So it has a basic, I'm gonna make sure the AS3X is off. Has a basic setup like normal, like you would at the box. Currently though, I'm running it on a 8-channel receiver that is the AR8360T AR8360T, and it has the AS3X Plus. So it has the basic throws, which is up elevator, down elevator, and your right roll, left roll, everything with the to the right on the rudders. You got your basic setups, of course. And then I have my Tailerons mode, which gives me Tailerons. But if you notice, my ailerons aren't moving as much as my Tailerons are. I also have what I call a maximum performance mode, which gives me my full aileron movement along with extended Taileron movement. So I got a lot more Taileron movement going on there as well. This is for just if I want to do some I want to really get this thing drilling, or if I wanted to have all the authority I need to basically just kind of fly this thing crazy or whatnot, for the flat spins and the the alpha stuff, and it just gives me a lot of extra to work with there. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So, all right. Well, we're gonna jump into the transmitter, and I'm gonna show you guys how I got my Taileron set up where I can actually switch them on and off. I know there's also been talk about, well, if you're in safe, if you go into safe with the Tailerons being able to be switched, it'll cause it to basically the Tailerons will fight the ailerons in a row, and also they will continue to respond to input regardless of the angle that the model is at, whether it's rolled more than 60 degrees or not. So I did something to fix that, and I have a mix in here that I call safe tail normal, and I'll show you guys that here too. But basically what happens is, let's say I got the Tailerons, okay, and I'm gonna try to hold the roll over, and I'm gonna click into safe.
AS3X auto assist.
As you can see, my Tailerons canceled completely. Even though I'm moving the stick, the elevator is not moving. Neither one of the horizontal stabilators are moving. Only in up and down pitch. That's the only way they move. But coming out of that, and I'm right back into Tailerons mode. And that's on a combo switch. It's not on one switch. So the transmitter is looking for a combination of which I have my Tailerons and wing type basically set here. It's looking for a combination of what my F switch is on, as well as what my B switch is, where my AS3X and my safe is located. It's looking for a combination of that stuff. So I'm going to show you guys. We're going to jump here into the transmitter screen, and we're going to have a look at that and basically go from there. So here we are on the transmitter, and we're gonna go first. I'm gonna show you guys basically how I was able to get this to set up like this to begin with. So let's get on the transmitter screen here, and the first thing you want to do is when you set the model up is you want to start by going into your model setup. When you go into the model setup, you want to jump into aircraft type. Of course, it's going to ask you to do that. And I'm not going to change it for the sake that I have this already here. But you're going to want to go into your Taileron A or Taileron B, whichever one your servos are set up for. Freewing should work like it should with a Spektrum setup on Taileron A. So you set it up for Taileron A on the tail. And then once you set it up for Taileron A on the tail, which I'm just going to back out, I'm not going to change anything. You're going to go to channel assign. And under channel assign, you're going to see that you have NA on channel 9. You're going to see that you have NA on 2, 4, 6, 1, and 3 as well. Set your gear to what you guys normally set it to. I normally set the channel to switch A. I changed 7 to elevator stick, and I'm going to show you why I do that. Because normally 9 would be the elevator stick, but we're not using 9 because we have an 8-channel receiver. So the auxiliary 3, which is the 8th channel, that is on my right digital trim, and that is because I have a nose wheel setup on here, which with AS3X Plus you get the nose wheel gyro. So in order to get that, you would have to put the nose wheel on a separate channel. So we're going to jump over into RX port assignment, and from RX port assignment we're going to go over here, and you're going to see how I got everything laid out. You're going to see that I have the throttle, the aileron, the elevator, right elevator, the rudder, gear, flaps, the left elevator, and auxiliary 3, which is for my nose wheel. I have some other stuff here as well, such as AUX7, which is I managed to program that through a mix to make my reverse thrust work, because avian ESCs only go from channel 5 to channel 9 for the reverse thrust. So I have that with that set up to work. Channel 10 should be my flight mode. So basically for changing from AS3X safe and no assist, which is no gyro at all. 11 would be my my gains slider, so I can adjust my gains. If my gains are too high, I can bring them down. If they're too low, I can bring them up. So that's basically what those are for. But you guys can set that up like how you choose to, in your preference. So, because some people don't like having a switch, they just want just the gains channel. So, but yeah, and some people like just having a switch without the gains channel. Just set the gains and let it stay fixed to what it is. So, but you're definitely going to want to set your transmitter up like this. As far as from channel 1 through 8, you're going to want to set it up like that. If you need to look at this some more, just back up and take a look at that in the video. And I'm trying to go through this as slow as possible, so I'm not going too quick on anything. So we're going to jump back out. And next thing you would need to do is, now that you got it in Tailerons, in the Taileron configuration, you would need to go through the normal process under model adjust and setting up your forward programming for setting up your gyro. So you would set your gyro up like normal. And we are looking at the jet now. You would set your gyro up as normal, and you would do all of the stuff that you would do under the Tailerons to make sure that all of the throws are set. You want to go ahead and set your maximum amount of travel, which I have 150% travel. Jumping back to the transmitter here, I'll show you guys how I do that. So you go into the servo setup, and you want to go under travel, And as you can see here, my aileron says left 150, right 150. My elevators is up 150, down 150 for the right. I even have my rudder maxed out to 150. And I also have my left elevator maxed out to 150 up or down. I also have the linkages changed on here as well, where I could get the maximum movement out of those also. So it's not just the servos alone, it's also the linkages. So let's back out. And as I said before, setting up your forward programming under Tailerons mode like you should. And then once you're done with that and you confirm that everything is working like it should, you know, the corrections when you go in the under the flight mode utilities. So let me show you that real quick. Back in the forward programming, back in the gyro settings, go to system setup, and you go into utilities, and you can do the gyro response test. Once you do the gyro response test and you confirm that everything responds the way it should in the gyro response test, then you'll want to jump all the way back out. And you're going to go on the model setup, and then you want to go to aircraft type. It's going to ask you to disable the RF, and then you're going to go and select dual elevator, one rudder. Now when you select this, do not go back into forward programming and relearn the servos. If you go back into forward programming and relearn the servos, it's going to learn the jet as a dual elevator, one rudder tail type, which means all of the roll authority that the gyro is going to output is only going to be in the ailerons. It's not going to be in the tail as well. You don't want to have roll authority in the tail. I'm sorry, roll authority in the main wings only, and not have any in the tail, and you have a mix that allows you to use the tail for roll authority. So backing out here, like I said, do not reset the this one saying, hey buddy, do not reset the servos. Is that you don't want to relearn those servos. So if you relearn the servos, you're going to cause all kinds of problems for yourself. So the next thing you want to do, like I said, is do that. You set it to dual elevator, one rudder, and then you're going to go, looking at the transmitter here, go into model adjust, and you're going to go into your mixing. And this is where things start getting a little complicated, but not really. It's not really that complicated. So I got a couple of mixes here. You can see I have a gear lock mix, Tailerons. I have, don't worry about that P Mix 3. That one I was using for the throttle to the AS3X, but I need to do some retweaking on that. I have the safe tail normal, which is what I was telling you guys about. The steering mix, which is what you want to mix that into a one of the trim tabs. And then I have an aileron reduction. Let's slide all the way up. Aileron reduced. Aileron reduced. I have a max roll, and then I have my thrust reverse, which I told you guys you have to do a mix for that, because if you're using Tailerons, you lost channel 9 to the wing type setup, so you lost channel 9 there. So you have to do this so that you can get channel 9 to respond to the switch. So let's start with the Taileron stuff. So we're gonna move into the Taileron stuff. So here we go. You're gonna do this on a curve. You're gonna want to do this on a curve mix, because you're gonna be using combo switches, and the combo switches are they just don't like doing it on the normals. They get a little confused, and it just doesn't work out right. So using the curve mix, I also turn the Expo on. The switch type, you're gonna want combination. And as you can see here for how I mixed it, let's jump back up. That was most important. You're gonna wanna mix your aileron input to your left elevator. It will not do it correctly if you do right elevator. It'll only do it correctly if you do left elevator. I don't know why the system does that. But it just will only do it if you do. I think left elevator commands right elevator as well, or it kind of feeds to it somehow or another, or maybe it talks to it first. I'm not sure. But that's just how they have it set up inside there. So I'm using a 41%, 41% on the mix. That way I'm getting only so much travel on the tail. So I'm gonna show you guys here. I'm only getting, that's all the travel I'm getting right there. You can see from up to down. That's all we're gonna get out of the 41%. So the way I have that set up is to use switch F, which is my switch I use for my Tailerons, has to be in position 1, and the relation, and switch B, which is where my AS3X, my safe, and my no gyro position, that's where they are at. That's the switch for that. You don't want this to you don't want this to go into the be active during safe. If you have to find yourself in safe, you don't want this active. So you want it to be deactivated completely if you find yourself in safe. As you can see here, the status is current. Now, if I hit one of these switches, let's say I hit the safe,
auto assist,
the status is no longer current, which means I no longer have Tailerons, as you see here. So I'm holding a left elevator, and I'm gonna turn the AS3X back on.
AS3X.
And now I have Tailerons again.
Auto assist.
Now I don't. So
AS3X.
using the combination switches will really help out with all of that as far as getting that taken care of. So that's basically, in a nutshell, how I set the Tailerons up. Now I have two different Tailerons set up. If you notice, the F switch only has one position 1 highlighted, not position 0 or 2. That's because in position 2, I have a Taileron set up that's more aggressive. And we're going to jump over to that right now, being that we're talking about Taileron setup. We're not going to jump into anything else yet. We're going to jump over to the max roll. Max roll is basically set up the same way as Tailerons, except for it's a lot more going on as far as the percentages. As you can see, the percentages now are 57% to both left and right, or positive and negative on the mix. And the switch setup is F on position 2 and switch B on position 1 or 2. So it's not in safe. It's either an AS3X or it has no gyro. You can see the status is current. So if I
Tailerons mode.
turn F off, it no longer has the status for max roll. Now it has the status for max roll, but it doesn't have the status for Tailerons. So here's the Tailerons.
Tailerons mode.
This is just my normal Tailerons. And here is, whoops. Here is the max roll. You see there, there's a little bit of a difference there. I'm almost at the very top of the fuselage. I actually could have gotten more than that, and I actually can get more than that because I have my rates set up differently. So my rates are on a gear base rates. So I'm going to lock my gear.
Gear locked.
And I'm going to retract them.
Gear retracted.
So the system thinks the gear is retracting, but I actually have a mix that locks the gear to stay down. But that gives me my rates, my full maximum rates while flying. So here's,
Tailerons mode.
let's look at it again. Here's Tailerons with my maximum rates. And there's maximum roll or maximum performance with my maximum rates. It's actually pointing at the rudder there. So
Tailerons mode.
that's the big difference.
Tailerons mode.
Got a lot of travel out of it. So that's how I have my rates set up though. My rates are based on my gear. If my gear is retracted, my rates are higher. My gear is extended, my rates are lower because now I'm coming in for a landing. I don't really need all of that. I still got enough in case I get in a bad bind I could pull out, but that's about it. All right, so let's move on here to the next thing. I'll jump back and let's have a look at, we're talking about Tailerons. Let's look at the safe tail normal. That is a combination switch as well. That loaded up, you guys can see it is a aileron to elevator mix, left elevator mix. There is Expo. It's on a combination setup, and you can see the percentages is 18 and negative 18. But if you notice, they're going in the opposite direction of. So this is actually battling against the natural want to make a movement for the tail type, for the tail mix. So here we got position F. In any position on position F, this can become active. So I can be in any position on position F. I can have a normal tail. I can be in Tailerons. I can be in max roll. I can be in any of that as long as switch B goes into the 0 position.
Auto assist.
That status is now there, which means now I don't have any Tailerons.
AS3X.
There goes out of safe,
Auto assist.
in safe.
AS3X.
Out of safe,
Auto assist.
in safe. Now let's do it
Tail normal.
with the tail normal. So you guys can say, well, what if it acts up with the tail is normal? Well, you see you got that minimum amount of movement there. That's not going to really affect anything. But here we go.
AS3X.
Out of safe,
Auto assist.
in safe. Out of safe,
AS3X. Auto
in
assist.
safe. So nothing's gonna go wrong there. It's just gonna make sure that every time you switch safe on, it's gonna lock the tail to a normal tail type, and the gyro will be able to still have control over all of that. It's not gonna let it overclock. It's not gonna let it do any of that stuff that it shouldn't be doing. So it's not gonna overclock or anything. So you don't have to worry about it shooting past its angles that it's limited to, and then the gyro see it's going past its angles and it start doing some crazy stuff in safe, which hopefully, I mean, you don't never have to find yourself having to use safe. Not saying anybody that flies with it can't fly with it. If you want to fly with safe, you can fly with safe. I've had to turn on safe a couple of times myself. It's a good thing to have. So I don't knock having safe or some sort of envelope that can level the plane for you so that you can get your bearings together. I mean, there's all kinds of things out there. A gnat could fly in your eye. That, you know, anything can happen. Your thumb could slip off the transmitter. I mean, I don't know. All kinds of stuff can happen. So it's a good idea to have that safe there just so you can hit that switch in case something's not going according to plan. I'm not saying safe is good for a bailout. you probably do better to bail out yourself before letting safe do it. But, you know, if you accidentally fly into the sun, you can hit safe, find the jet or the prop plane or whatever it is you're flying, and, you know, or get it back and then let it be in safe so you can be like, okay, let me get my eyes back because the sun just burnt them out. So safe is a good thing to have there. So now we jumped all the way back to the beginning here. Now we're gonna go back into the mixing. Somehow or another I held the button instead of letting it go. So this is something I did for more of a scale appearance and a natural feel while using Tailerons, because Tailerons on a regular Taileron setup is just a one-to-one setup. So basically what I did here with this mix, which is called AR Reduced, it reduces the amount of aileron travel. And if you watch here, as I show you guys, this is without, this is the aileron travel without Tailerons. Let's kind of put that elevator in there a little bit. Here's Tailerons.
24.4 volts.
Oh,
Tailerons mode.
and safe.
AS3X.
All right, there we go.
Tailerons mode.
Notice the elevator on the, the elevator went to the play for roll, but the aileron reduced this amount of roll rate. This gives me less aileron on the wing than it does on the tail, which is what the full scale companions do, or full scale partners do. They actually have more authority control over roll in their tail versus on their main wings. So this is reduced by half. So if we look here, you see it's on a combination switch that allows it to only activate, and you have to do this in a curved mix. That allows it to only activate when the status is set for it. So we have a 50% in position 1 with a negative 50% in position 3. Our F switch is going to be in position 1, same as the regular Tailerons. And our B switch is going to be in position 1 or 2. This will allow this to deactivate if you have to go into safe. Like I said, you don't want any of this stuff active in safe. In safe, you want it to fly like it's a 6-channel receiver or 8-channel receiver on just the Taileron setup, but it's gonna fly the gyro like Taileron setup, but it's not going to allow you to use the Tailerons. It's just gonna allow you to use the main wings, but you still have plenty of control over it, plenty of the same type of control you would have if you were just on a basic 6-channel receiver with safe. So no difference there. All right, jumping back out. I'm not sure if you guys are interested, but I can run over the nose wheel mix. So the steering. So the steering is done by just a basic normal setup for mixing. As you can see, I have it set up with rudder to AS auxiliary 3. I'm going to say AS3X. Rudder to auxiliary 3. And it's on switch A, which is my gear switch. As you can see right now, it's saying that switch A is not geared down. So this is the thing, guys, is if you do a steering lock now, a gear lock, you're gonna have to put the gear back down,
Gear unlocked.
unlock it, and then you'll have your nose wheel authority. So let's zoom in on that. So let's zoom in on that because it's way up there from me. And you see I have my nose wheel authority, but if I lock the gear,
Gear lock.
and I retract,
Gear retracted.
now I don't have anything. So just remember, if you ever taxiing out and you can't no steering, make sure
Extended. Gear unlocked.
that you unlock the gear if you decide to go with these gear-based rates, because that'll get you. It's got me already. So yeah, it's basically set up that way, and you can see here the rate is 0 to 0. I don't know why the rate is shown at 0 to 0. I thought it was more. Yeah, that's kind of weird. It shouldn't be at 0 to 0, but yeah. But anyway, I actually have it set up to the AS3, the auxiliary 3, and the auxiliary 3. If you look in here at my transmitter, it's on my trim tab, so I can adjust the trim of the nose wheel. Like if it's going too far to the right, I can adjust it left. You know, go ahead and kind of self-center it myself without the gyro having to do it. That way, it makes less work for the gyro to have to do. That way, when the gyro does have to do something, it can do it, you know, a lot easier and make it look a lot cleaner, more flawless look on the ground. So that's basically about it in a nutshell when it comes to these mixes. The basic stuff, like my flaps, we'll jump into that. You see I got my flaps here. I use my switch C for flaps. I know a lot of people use D, but C is better for my short fingers. So I use the 100%, of course, on on 0. It's 100% flap. That way it's nothing going on. Got -1% in position 1 and 50% in position 2. I haven't had to mix in any elevator because of how the CG I use on here. I haven't had to use any elevator, so it doesn't balloon up or anything. 2-second timer. So a lot of this stuff is new to me on this iX14. It didn't look like this on the iX12, so a lot of stuff looks a lot newer to me. All right. And that's basically about it, guys. I mean, my dual rates and Expo. Of course, this is with the gear down, so that's going to be my low rate. So let's lock it. Here we go. This is what I'm going to look like when we're flying. 100% on the Aileron, 71% on the Expo. That dulls that movement, so it's not so quick. You don't want it to be too jittery. Just kind of dims it down a little bit and makes it feel a little more natural. That's my dog in the background, guys. He sees somebody outside, and so he's barking. Elevator does the same thing. I have it at 100% on the dual rates and 71% on the Expo. But yeah, that just about covers everything on the mixing. I'm hoping that you guys was able to catch all of that. I'm not sure if there's anything I might have missed. If there is, don't hesitate to hit me up, and I can throw that information at you. But I try to make sure I went over everything as much as possible. Until then, guys, you guys take it easy. RC Pilot Wheel out.